I stepped outside that morning, coffee in hand, expecting birdsong and quiet. But instead, I saw three massive white tents smack in the middle of my orchard, chandeliers hanging, garlands swaying, and a DJ booth blasting Taylor Swift like it was a music festival. I nearly dropped my mug right there. A guy jogged past me holding cupcakes, and a woman in stilettos shouted something about dove timing. I blinked hard, but nope, this was real. Someone was throwing a full-blown wedding on my property, and they hadn't even bothered to ask. Now listen, I've run that orchard for over 3 decades. My dad planted those trees with his bare hands. And after he passed, I kept the place running not for money, but for peace. It's my slice of heaven. No traffic, no HOA drama, just bees and blooming trees. So you can imagine how I felt seeing my land hijacked like a page from a bridal magazine. I stormed down the rows barefoot, dodging cords and fake ivy, until I found the woman behind the madness. Blonde bob, oversized sunglasses, latte in hand, barking orders like she was Spielberg. She looked at me like I was some confused janitor. I asked what she thought she was doing on my orchard. She scoffed, said the HOA approved her permit. I told her there is no HOA here, and every single tree she zip-tied a ribbon to was mine. She laughed like I told her pigs could fly, said someone told her the land was community space and that it was perfect for weddings. Rustic, trendy, quirky, great for photos. I tried to stay calm, told her this was a working orchard, and we had a crop dusting scheduled the next morning. She rolled her eyes and said, "Nobody sprays any more organic is in," then told me I should be thanking her, because, apparently, my orchard would be famous on Instagram by the weekend. That's when I gave her 30 minutes to pack up, told her I'd call the sheriff. She didn't flinch, just smiled like I was adorable and said they weren't going anywhere. Guests were flying in. The bride had been dreaming about this day since she was 6. And apparently a goat-petting zoo was on the way. I walked back to the porch, heart pounding, but I wasn't going to yell. I opened my old metal binder, flipped to the schedule. Yep. Crop dusting locked in at 6 a.m. I called the pilot to reconfirm. Then I started documenting everything. Tents, power cords, goats nibbling at my irrigation system. Even the box labeled Karen's Event Company. The next morning, just before sunrise, I sat on my porch with coffee in hand. The orchard was wrapped in mist, the tents glowing soft white. People were waking up in cots under those tents, rubbing their eyes, stretching, and then came the sound. Low, steady, familiar. My crop duster circling in. Bright orange spray flags were everywhere. I even stuck one next to the porta potty. First pass was gentle. Second pass? That sulfur mist rolled right in like fog off a lake. People started coughing. One woman screamed. A guy sprinted for the buffet yelling about chemicals. Karen ran out in a robe and curlers, looking like she'd seen a ghost. Then came chaos. The goat knocked over the cake. The flower girl tripped on a power cord. The DJ yanked his gear and ran like it was a war zone. Karen ran straight toward me, face streaked with mascara, waving an orange flag. "You did this," she shouted. I told her, calmly, "No, ma'am. You ignored the warnings." The bride showed up, eyes full of tears, dress stained, asking why her aunt hadn't checked property rights. Karen tried blaming the HO again. I didn't argue. I just nodded toward the wreckage. They had trespassed. Plain and simple. I sent Karen an invoice a few days later. $5,000. Damages. Cleanup. Labor. Even emotional stress. Dropped it off at the HOA office. Turns out she never filed any real permit. Just told people she had. News spread quick. A clip of the wedding disaster went viral, complete with me sipping coffee as the crop duster passed overhead. A week later, Karen pulled into my driveway like a villain in a soap opera, sunglasses, long coat, attitude. She handed me the invoice and said I was being petty. I told her she was being delusional. She said it was just one day. I said it was my land. She refused to pay and said, "Take me to court." So I did. In court, I laid it all out: photos, documents, video footage, even a TikTok where Karen literally said, "He's old. He probably doesn't even know what social media is." The judge didn't crack a smile. Ruled in my favor. Karen owed the full amount, plus a penalty. She lost her spot on the HOA board. I built a 10-foot fence with motion lights, posted clear signs every few feet, and adopted 3 loud geese to patrol the property named the loudest one, Karen. Of course. Now, folks stop by the orchard all the time. A local brewery made a cider called Crop Dust Justice. People come, take pictures, leave donations, and I sit on the porch, drink in hand, watching the geese do their thing. Sometimes, you don't need to scream or fight. Just stand your ground, stick to the truth, and let nature and a little sulfur do the talking. But hey, what would you have done? Would you have canceled the spray, played nice, or let it all unfold like I did? Drop your thoughts below because I think there's more to talk about here than just a ruined wedding.